So let's have a chat about what is involved in actually finding your first job. And this is one that everybody here is very familiar with. So education. Education does not define your career in tech. There is plenty of great talent in tech, which comes from unusual backgrounds. I've known all sorts of people from all sorts of backgrounds, whether it might be that they're educated, but it's in a different field like maths or physics, or it might be that they don't even have a background with an education at all. It's just self-taught. They've met some great people in all of those. I had a CTO once who was completely self-taught, but it does make a big difference in landing your first role. I can tell you that. If you have demonstrated capability at university with your high marks, you've gone to a good university, you've got relevant extracurricular experience, it does give you a step up. The high marks in particular is important for that. And if you want to get in front of somebody, if you want to really make sure that when you're applying for a graduate role, that you get your first interview there, demonstrate you've got good marks, like very good marks, and you will definitely get an interview. I have never turned down an interview from someone who's gotten mostly high distinctions, or however your university actually measures it, because generally speaking, it's a good indicator of intelligence, and you do want smart people. I mean, Blue Dot is entirely based on the fact that the only reason that we can be as good as we are is we've got top 10% engineers, frequently top 1% engineers. We've got people who've worked at Apple, at Google, and so we've got a really great range of engineers who have done some really great things. And so for that, it's really important we get smart people. And the other one that Lauren was talking about was experience. Now, this comes in all sorts of ways. Of course, everyone here is certainly across the work that Fatima and Lauren do around internships, and that's really important. You actually get a lot of great experience out of internships that you're not going to get anywhere else. It's going to give you skills that and just familiarity with how the sector works, all the tooling, all the processes, things like how do you perform, take part of a Scrum meeting, for example, stand-ups, how to use Jira or any other project management software. It's all really important stuff. Getting good at Git, that's also really important. You can learn all this stuff through internships. There are a couple of other ways. There's relevant major projects that you might have done at school, particularly as part of honours or masters. You'll frequently get to do some really cool stuff in those, and you'll be able to show off your abilities with those. Ideally, make it available via something like GitHub so that people can actually see the quality of your work. Even non-tech related experience does demonstrate that you can at least hold a job, so that's something. But it doesn't actually hold that much weight, I will have to say, in the tech world. The best experience, I am going to touch on this a couple of times, is that you're trying to build things yourself. If you can show evidence that you've taken initiative and you've tried building your own tech product, I will tell you now, you are head and shoulders above the field. I mean, you're not going to be able to get the kind of abilities that you get from internships. And so, this perhaps isn't universal, but I will say that for any engineering manager who's looking for someone talented and skilled and who's going to take that real initiative to better themselves, demonstrating that you've tried to build something, you've given a really good shot at building your own company, at trying to do something yourself. That's really, really interesting for any engineering manager who's trying to recruit, and that you're almost certainly going to get a interview out of that, simply because being able to demonstrate that initiative is actually pretty uncommon, and it shows that you've really got the potential for growth. I am going to go a little bit more into detail on this a little bit later, but if you can try to do this together with friends. A sole engineer building something a shot is good, but a team of friends working together demonstrates that everything a company is looking for, which is initiative and teamwork, also along with the technical skills and the ability to build towards something. All right. Now, finding a good match. The funny thing is with finding a job is it's a little bit like finding finding yourself a relationship. You're going to be with these people for a very long time, for quite a while. You're going to spend years with them, and you're going to be seeing them every day. You don't want to find somewhere that you don't actually enjoy. So as tempting as it is, not every job is a good match. I know that sometimes it's really frustrating because you've been looking for jobs for ages, but you need to try and focus on finding something that actually excites you, because not only does that make it easier once you're actually working there, but it actually makes it easier to get the job in the first place. If you come to an interview excited and interested and asking questions that are relevant, it makes a massive difference. I can tell you that. People who are coming along because they've tried, it's just another interview, they're just trying to get a place. Look, I get it. I get how it is sometimes, but it's not something that inspires huge amounts of confidence in the person across the table in the interview. Do try to find places that you genuinely want to work for, and it will come out in how you actually interact with the recruiter. You can use the boards when you're trying to find a place to apply. The boards are okay, but also look at specific companies' career pages. Find companies you'd like to work for, and check out their pages. I mean, there's plenty of places that have offices here in Australia, and there's plenty of companies which are based here in Australia. So you've got lots of options. Do go to a lot of them don't actually advertise on boards. You're not going to find Google actually advertising on Seek. They just don't do it, in my experience. And similarly for the other big companies, at Canvas, Atlassian, you don't see those on Seek. You don't see them on LinkedIn. Not generally. Instead, they want people who are excited to work for them, and so they only advertise mostly on their own career pages. If it's an important position, they might have recruiters going out and headhunting on LinkedIn, which is why keep your LinkedIn profile up to date, and your dream job might just find you, especially if you've been able to publish good marks or so on after graduating. But also do check out what's actually available on the careers web pages. Now, one thing this calls back to what I was talking about between startup, scale up, and enterprise. Make sure it fits your risk profile. If you are not looking for a nice, stable, secure job, do not apply for a startup, please. You will hate it. I have known people, I have employed people who have worked, who've come to work at a startup just because they just wanted a job. And then they realized just how crazy startups can be. They are a great place to learn fast, but you do get much less support, and it's riskier because startups do go out of business. The other thing, last thing, although it's a little bit less relevant at the moment, is attending events and meeting people. That's mostly when you're not locked down. Hey, I'm in Melbourne. I know that many of the people here are in Melbourne, but so that's not happening right now. But when you can, networking can take you to some interesting places.